and welcome to News Round, where you get a recap of top stories for the week. Coming up, federal government announces plan to beef up security around the nation's borders to curb the influx of irregular migrants. And supporters of two PDP members laying claim to the office of the National Secretary will clash in Abuja as the party holds its National Working Committee meeting. And Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, calls for the breaking of leadership barriers for women in the legal profession. Plus, at least 30 bodies pulled out from the Potomac River after a plane and helicopter collide mid-air over Washington, D.C. The week opened with the federal government's announcement of plans to further strengthen security around the nation's borders in order to curtail the influx of irregular migrants. Speaking at a media parley in Abuja with heads of agencies under the Ministry of Interior, the Minister, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, also announced that the federal government raked in approximately 2.4 billion naira from marriage contracts via its marriage registry in 2024.
Heads of agencies under the Ministry of Interior are gathered here for the first media interaction hosted by the minister.
In 2025,
the Permanent Secretary kickstarts the event with a welcome address.
In this new year, as we begin, we want to put what we've been able to achieve in 2024 before you, and also what we intend to do in 2025. The challenges we face are significant, but we also have opportunities. And we look at the fact that together we can foster a safer, more secure and inclusive environment for all citizens.
Reeling out the achievements of the ministry in the last 1 year, the minister announced an increase in revenue generation through marriage contracts and issuance of expatriate quota certificates.
I'm happy to tell you that the revenue that accrued to government increased by over 150%, due to the optimization of that particular solution. And for instance, in expatriate quota last year, the government was able to realize about 3.2 billion naira from expatriate quota alone. And of course, this is not about just giving quota to people. It's about application fee. So it means that it's not a function of approval. It's a function of application. It's a function of requisition, not necessarily approval.
Strengthening the nation's border security and ease of doing business is also germane to the federal government.
A total of over 10,783 personnel in the last 2 years, 2023 and 2024, has been recruited. This is not just about bringing people on board. It's about helping our national security architecture. It's about prioritizing the security of Nigerians by the president and getting more boots on ground to be able to protect lives and property.
The federal government is reiterating its commitments to contain and curtail the influx of irregular migrants into the country as part of efforts to secure the nation.
And politics soon took center stage in conversations when chaos ensued at the People's Democratic Party headquarters after miscreants clashed at the party's 79th Board of Trustees meeting on Wednesday. Tensions flared after Senator Samuel Anyanwu and Honorable Sunday Udeokoye, both laying claims to the position of PDP National Secretary, clashed at the start of the meeting.
This meeting of the People's Democratic Party's Board of Trustees is holding at the instance of the party's national chairman to address issues that are threatening the unity of the party.
Can raise the point and then we'll ask.
In attendance are former governors and some members of the PDP National Working Committee, including the acting national chairman, Mr. Umar Damagum, Mr. Samuel Anyanwu, and Ude Okoye, who are both laying claim to the office of the national secretary of the party.
Agenda for today.
The chairman of the Board of Trustees decries the inability of the leaders of the party to resolve their crisis and asked the National Working Committee to ensure that the National Executive Council meeting is convened in February.
Let me express my profound disappointment over the crisis currently rocking the leadership of the National Working Committee. As elder statesmen and women, leaders who hold the trust of the generality of our party members and the public, it is disheartening that these issues have not been resolved. In the light of these challenges, I again urge the National Working Committee to honor its words and convene the NEC meeting as scheduled in February 2025.
The chairman of the
However, the acting national chairman of the party is blaming leaders of the party, including some members of the Board of Trustees, for the lingering crisis.
Most of this crisis that you see today within the NWC is propelled by our leaders that are supposed to unite us. Some of us are also complicit, and I want to use this opportunity to caution us, caution our leaders. You may have ambition, but you don't ride on a dead horse to reach your destination.
The meeting then moves into a closed-door session with both Mr. Anyanwu and Okoye, who are laying claim to the office of the PDP National Secretary, in attendance. Outside the gate, supporters of Mr. Okoye engaged security officers in a heated argument for refusing them access to the compound. Inside the meeting room, a fight broke out as Mr. Ude Okoye ran out of the hall. The meeting is disrupted for over 30 minutes until a combined team of police and the army arrive to restore order. The PDP continues to grapple with internal leadership crisis, with some members seeking a replacement for the Damagum-led National Working Committee, and the latest face-off further widens the existing crack that is threatening the unity of the party.
And governors elected under the platform of the People's Democratic Party are asking the federal government to revisit or rejig its macroeconomic policies to ameliorate the hardship being faced by Nigerians. The governors, who gave the charge at the end of their meeting in Asaba, the Delta State capital, said no meaningful or impactful achievements can be recorded in the state until the harsh policies are addressed.
The meeting noted the macroeconomic policies of the federal government that have inflicted hardship and pain on the polity. And therefore, the forum called the federal government to either revisit or rejig its macroeconomic policies to ameliorate or stop the hardship and pain that they have inflicted on Nigerians, as no meaningful or impactful achievements in the states will be achieved until the harsh policies are addressed. The forum noted with delight the ongoing efforts at resolving the crisis in the National Working Committee, NWC, on the position of the National Secretary, and has reaffirmed its support for the subsisting court judgment on the matter. Consequently, the forum advised the NWC to set up the machinery for the effective implementation of the Federal High Court judgment, or Court of Appeals. the forum, having examined all the notices required by law to be given, validly convoke NEC, advise NWC to reschedule NEC to the 13th of March 2025.
Meanwhile, the PDP governors say the party remains the only viable opposition in the country in spite of some of its internal conflicts.
We thank the efforts and contribution of our founding fathers. And you can see the brand, the color, the logo is still what it is. And our own structure is as it has always been. The organs of the party are working. We are in the opposition. Out of the opposition parties, I think we are doing very well. There is no party that doesn't have problems. Even the party in power, the APC, you have never seen them coming out like this to have this kind of meeting of togetherness. They have never had NEC. They don't even have BOT. Maybe because you are used to a good party like the PDP. Yes, we have problems and challenges. We are here with the National Working Committee, and we discuss extensively all our problems and challenges, some of them bordering on litigation. We have always come behind our own. Our governors are there, they can testify to it. But certainly we don't want to be prejudicial on issues because we believe in the rule of law.
Welcome back. Still getting the top stories for this week. Earlier, former Senate President Mr. Pius Ayim says besides the Constitutional Conference of 2006 and the 2014 confab, no other structure efforts have been made in a decade to resolve the ever-lingering issues of instability in the Nigerian polity. He stated this at the launch of a book published by the Inter-Party Advisory Council in Abuja.
Thank you so much.
Political gladiators under the Inter-Party Advisory Council converged to discuss some of the issues impacting political development in Nigeria.
CUPP.
Nigeria's political scene dates back to the pre-colonial era, and Nigeria is currently experiencing the longest democratic dispensation. The conversation here focuses on factors that have inhibited the development of the nation's political journey.
Today, as we gather to celebrate the centenary activities of political parties in Nigeria, we pay tribute to the visionaries, the leaders, and the citizens who have contributed to the growth and development of our democracy. It is a reflection of the trials, the triumphs, the challenges and achievements that have shaped our political landscape over the past century.
Some of the issues identified as being at the root of the lingering problems of national instability, leading to a high level of insecurity, include economic regression and the heavy burden of maladministration, corruption, nepotism, among others.
Our democracy has been tested and shaken by reactionary forces, and they have survived. This, therefore, is a testament to Nigerians' belief and resilience in representative governance. In this regard, it has become necessary to explore the process for the development of political parties in Nigeria.
No democracy is perfect. It is a continuous journey of reform and improvement. As an electoral management body, INEC is committed to ensuring that our electoral process remains credible, transparent, and inclusive.
Before now, there were efforts to address some of these issues, and the former president of the Senate believes there should be sincere dialogue.
The incontrovertible fact that in any heterogeneous or plural country of similar complexity as Nigeria, the need for national dialogue and minimum consensus on the terms of the Union cannot be ignored or overemphasized. It behoves this generation of leaders and elites to establish that dialogue and reach that consensus that Nigeria sorely needs to rid itself and her component parts of the mutual suspicion, distrust, and antagonism that have retarded her growth into the stable nation and contending global power she has every potential to be.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
To preserve Nigeria as a stable nation, stakeholders here stress the need to overcome mutual distrust and suspicion, called on political parties to embrace internal democracy and prioritize national unity over ethnic interest. Benny Ark for Channels Television News.
And to the judiciary. Now, the Federal High Court sitting in Ado-Ekiti has struck out the criminal charge filed by the police against Lagos-based legal practitioner and author Dele Farotimi. Justice Babs Kumi struck out the charge following an application by the police prosecutor, Samson Shobu, who told the court that the prosecution had filed a notice of discontinuance. Mr. Farotimi's legal counsel, led by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Adinka Olumide Fushika, made no objection. This comes on the heels of the decision by the founder and chancellor of Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Are Afe Babalola, to withdraw all the criminal cases he filed against the Lagos-based legal practitioner and author. Meanwhile, another criminal charge filed by the police against Mr. Farotimi is still pending before Magistrate Bayomi Adeosun, also in Ado-Ekiti, before it was adjourned to February the 13th. There are also civil cases against Mr. Farotimi pending before the FCT High Court, Abuja, the Ogun State High Court, the Oyo State High Court, and River State High Court, which were filed by lawyers in the Afe Babalola chambers in those states.
Respected traditional monarchs led by the Ooni of Ife arrived at the Afe Babalola University at Ado-Ekiti late Sunday night to meet with the founder of the school, Are Afe Babalola, on the defamation cases pending in court against Lagos-based legal practitioner Dele Farotimi. Also in attendance are school authorities, the legal team of Afe Babalola, palace officials of the visiting monarchs, and journalists. Mr. Farotimi had published a book titled Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, where he alleged that Are Afe Babalola corrupted the Nigerian judiciary to procure a fraudulent judgment in the service of his clients. Angered by these allegations, Are Babalola wrote a petition to the police commissioner in Ekiti State, stating that Mr. Farotimi had defamed him, and the police subsequently arrested the Lagos lawyer, after which he was arraigned before two courts, the magistrate and the Federal High Court, both in Ado-Ekiti. The court had granted Farotimi bail, with further hearing in both suits fixed for January 29 and February 13, 2025. Ahead of the resumption of court hearings, this meeting by the traditional rulers is to intervene and appeal to Are Afe Babalola to forgive Farotimi and to withdraw the court cases.
All of us, as traditional rulers, we all came together to discuss with you on these topical issues that is so germane to all of us. And lo and behold, the gentleman we're talking about here is your son, is a Yoruba man too, Dele Farotimi. But we're looking beyond this case. Baba Afe Babalola, nobody can tarnish your name.
The meeting spilled into the early hours of Monday, and in his response, Are Babalola noted that he had ignored several interventions, even from some important personalities, because Farotimi's allegation strikes at the very bottom of what he represents. He, however, said that out of respect for the Yoruba traditional institutions and the visiting monarchs, he would ask his lawyers to withdraw the criminal suits.
I am the chairman of Transparency International, based in Germany, over corruption. I've given lectures alongside with Obasanjo and others around Africa. For one to come and say, I won my cases through corruption, strikes at the bottom of what I am. That was why I rejected every appeal to take the case out of court. But on this occasion, I say this.
Are Afe Babalola may have withdrawn his suit against Mr. Farotimi. It is, however, unclear if that signals the end of the case, as the other lawyers who filed similar suits against him are yet to make their positions known. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
And still on judicial matters, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, says women play a major role in policy making and nation building. Justice Kekereekun was speaking at a workshop of female judges from the North Central and Northeast zones.
Join us today. We appreciate.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, is leading these female judges to this meeting on ways to break leadership barriers for women in the legal profession. In attendance are female justices of the Supreme Court, the President of the Court of Appeal, female judges of the Federal High Court, heads of courts, and female judges drawn from Nigeria's North Central and Northeast zones. Leading the conversation, the CJN agrees that women have made some achievements in their careers. However, she explains that there are still some challenges.
Some of these challenges include domestic impediments, difficulty in maintaining a work-life balance, lack of support in the home, working conditions that are not favorable to women, such as frequent postings of women with young families, gender bias, a belief that certain positions are more suited to the male gender.
There are words of encouragement as judges were advised to maintain a high level of integrity.
Anybody who is aspiring to look like any of my lords here on this side of the hall, you have a long way to go. You have to be up on your career. You have to be straightforward. You have to be able to sleep with your two eyes closed because you know you are doing the right thing.
As judges, you are role models and inspirations for young women and girls, demonstrating that they too can aspire to prominent positions within and outside of the judiciary. It is truly commendable that women judges have achieved a great feat in having one of your own as the second Chief Justice of Nigeria in the person of Honorable Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, GCON.
The keynote speaker is a retired Supreme Court Justice, Justice Amina Augie, and she speaks on the challenges women face in attaining leadership roles.
In an article on gender effect on leadership, Diane Cassidy observed, and I quote, "Many believe that the resistance to women as leaders is fundamentally based in these gender-biased perceptions, resulting in the disbelief of a woman's ability to lead if she does not measure up to the expectations and behaviors of her male counterparts. This resistance not only prevents women from entering leadership roles, but sometimes affects the way women behave when they take on leadership roles."
These female judges consider this workshop as a call to action and are optimistic that there is no barrier to success in the profession. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
And finally, on news, rather tragic news in the U.S., where officials say no survivors are expected to be found after a plane and helicopter collided in midair over Washington, D.C.'s Potomac River. The American Airlines flight was carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members when it crashed with a Black Hawk helicopter as it approached Ronald Reagan National Airport. 3 soldiers were in the military aircraft. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the body of the plane has been found in 3 different sections of the river in waist-deep water.
The helicopter was in a standard pattern. If you live in the D.C. area, you'll see helicopters up and down the river. This flight pattern is seen oftentimes when you live in D.C. This was a standard flight pattern last night as well. The American Airlines flight coming into land was in a standard flight pattern as it was coming into DCA. As many of you have reported, we have located the 2 aircrafts. The fuselage of the American Airlines plane was inverted. It's been located in 3 different sections. It's in about waist-deep water. Safety is our expectation. Everyone who flies in American skies expects that we fly safely, that when you depart an airport, you get to your destination. That didn't happen last night. And I know that President Trump, his administration, the FAA, the DOT, we will not rest until we have answers for the families and for the flying public. You should be assured that when you fly, you're safe.
And those were the top stories for the week. Thank you for watching. I'm Vladi Williams. Bye for now.